Hey boys and girls, so today is Friday the 27th, and if you're working with us on our packet, today we're on day 4. So some of the things that we need to do today is, if we're looking at our articles, we're talking about Otis Boykin, very important person in history as far as inventions. For phonics, we're marking up the words, and we're talking about V-E. So remember, if you're talking about a V-E, like the word June, if you look at that, you have a long U sound because we have that helping E. But the helping E is so nice, he gives all his power to that U, and he doesn't make a sound at all. So you mark it up, it's a one-syllable word, even though there are 2 vowels, because you only hear one of those syllables. So it gets 1 scoop. That U, you put a macron above it because it's a long U. And then you scratch out that E because that E doesn't make a sound. Underneath, you put that V-E, showing that, hey, it's a vowel, consonant E, but that first vowel gets all of the sound, and the E is silent. Same thing with safe. You hear that long A sound. Since it's a long A, you put a macron above it. You go to that E and you scratch it out, showing that, hey, it's giving all its power to that first vowel and it doesn't make a sound. So you scratched it out. It's a one-syllable word, even though it has 2 vowels, because you only hear that 1 vowel sound in this case. And underneath, you put a V-E, okay? And then, when we go to math, yesterday's math was a 2-part or a 2-day section. So really, I showed you the first page for yesterday. Today, they're still talking about the trip to the zoo in this case. They give you the numbers for how many girls, 12, are in our class, and boys, 14. Those are not the real numbers that are in our class, but they just made them up. They ask you to answer some basic questions like how many children in all. We know what in all means. Read that, and then don't forget to fill this up, okay? Fill this out, write or draw to show how you solved it, okay? All right, so we have a few things today. If we were in class, we would be finishing up our chapter 9 book. That means we would be doing a test review today, and then tomorrow we'd be doing the actual, or on Monday we'd do the actual test after we did a review. But obviously we're not in school, we're not going to give you that test, but we are still going to do a quick review. So Mrs. Whitley's going to come on over here, and I'm going to talk about some of the big questions that you probably would have seen on that test. So the first one, for number 2, is a story problem. The paper clip is about 4 centimeters long. So I hear ding, ding, ding in my head. That sounds like an important number, so I'm going to circle it. Robin says a string is about 7 centimeters long. Ding, ding, ding. I'm going to circle that. Gail says a string is about 20 centimeters long. Ding, ding, ding. I'm going to circle that. Now, down here is where they ask us the question, which girl has the better estimate? An estimate, we know, is like a guess. It's using information you already know to come up with an answer that you're not quite sure of just yet, and explain. Well, this isn't like a regular story problem where we would write out a number sentence. Here we're trying to figure out who has the better answer. So let's look back at our numbers. It says a paper clip is about 4 centimeters long. So what I would do is I would make a line and have it cross that string. And at the top, I put 4 cm. Say, okay, I know right here is about 4 centimeters. Okay, so Robin says a string is about 7 centimeters long. So let's look at our paper clip. Does it look like, let's see, if we have one paper clip here, could we draw another paper clip here? Yeah, probably. I'd say that would work. And how long would that make it? Well, if this is 4 centimeters here, we had another 4 centimeters here. That would give us a total of 8. It looks like it's not quite done, so maybe that has a total of 9 centimeters, but it looks like a pretty good guess. Well, let's see what Gail says. Gail says the string is about 20 centimeters long. Wait a minute. One of these answers sounds right, and one of these answers could not be right. If we're talking about the fact that this paperclip is 4 centimeters long, there's no way that this string is 20 centimeters long, right? We'd have to have, the string would have to be 5 paper clips long, right? So here, Gail's answer is not right. And Robin's is probably the better guess because it's closer. And that's what you could say, which girl has a better estimate? We'd explain, I would say Robin has the better guess because 7 centimeters is a closer estimate than 20 centimeters. Okay. Let's go over here. I'll move this. So here we have another story problem. This one's a little more traditional, like we're used to. It says Sandy's paper chain is 14 centimeters long. Ding, ding, ding. Important number, circle it. Tim's paper clip chain is 6 centimeters long. We circled that important number. How many centimeters of paper chain do they have? Draw a diagram, write a number sentence using a box for the missing number, then solve. Okay, there's a lot there, isn't it? Well, we already have our 2 important numbers. We need to figure out if we're adding or subtracting, so we're going to look for words or phrases that tell us if they're adding or subtracting. Well, it says, how many centimeters of paper chain do they have? When you hear that word they, typically it means they're combining or putting it together. So in this case, it's going to be plus. Drawing a diagram is simply using our number line, so we can do that in a few moments. Write a number sentence. We know the number sentence is when we're using numbers and we're either showing addition or subtraction. We're going to put a box for the missing number. A lot of times that box would go last for the unknown answer. And then we solve. Well, we know the question is asking, how many centimeters of paper chain do they have? So that's our goal. We're going to try and find it out total. So one way we could do it is using our number line. We know the first paper chain is Sandy's and it's 14 centimeters long. So I'm going to start at the 0 and I'm going to go all the way to the 14. And I'm going to make a line. I'm going to say, okay, 14 cm. But the next thing is Tim's paper chain is 6 centimeters long. So I'm going to count 6 more. So I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to make my line going here. And I'm going to say 6 cm. Well, that kind of gives us the answer, doesn't it? But we still need to write it in a number sentence. So the number we're going to start with is 14. I'm going to label it as cm. We know our operation is plus, so I'm going to put a plus sign. And I'll put 6 cm as well, because I'm adding that. Well, the box is what we put for the unknown number, but we know what the answer is. We used our number line to help us add it up. 14 plus 6 gives us a total of 20. The paper chain is 20 centimeters long now. Okay. This question is one I picked because on our last test, we talked about comparing things with inches and feet on our test, and a couple people got it mixed up. So let's work on this one. So circle the word on the tile that makes the sentence true. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to write them out. Okay, so let's think about a hallway. First, let's jump up to centimeters. We know centimeters are pretty small. It's about the width of my finger, so that's 1 centimeter. Centimeters are not particularly big. If we're talking about meters, it's 100 centimeters, so this dude is pretty big, right? Okay, so we're going to use this, meters, to measure longer or larger objects, and centimeters for smaller. So if I'm thinking about a hallway, think about the hallway at our school. Our hallway is pretty long. Now, if you were a mouse, maybe your hallway would be 4 centimeters long. Maybe more an ant, but that's 4 centimeters. 4 meters would be 4 of these. If we're thinking about school, or maybe even at home would be a little better, 4 of these, I would say, would probably be closer. You're not going to be doing too much walking if your hallway is 4 centimeters. So, it's going to be 4 meters. A marker is 15 meters long or centimeters long. Well, if you're a giant, maybe your marker would be 50 of these long. But I'm going to say, looking at my marker, which is pretty close to 15 centimeters long, it's about 13 and a half, I'd say cm would be what we're going with. A toothpick. Now, we don't even have to measure that one. We know toothpicks are small. Centimeters are used to measure smaller objects, so I'm going to go with cm. A sofa, or in our case down here, a futon. Yesterday, or the other day, we measured with our meter stick. A sofa that's 2 meters long is maybe more of a love seat, but still, unless you're an ant, you're not going to have a sofa that's 2 centimeters long. So meters would make the most sense. And then, estimate the length of a real car. So think about a real car, something that your mom and dad drive, not a toy car. Fill in the bubble to all the sentences that are true. Now, a car is more than 100 centimeters long. Well, here's 100 centimeters. Eli and Quinn at one point had a red toy car that they could ride around in the backyard. I'm sure most of you guys have had one of those. This was about the length of that toy car. I'm going to tell you that my car is longer than 100 centimeters, so I'm going to say the car is more than 100 centimeters long. So we'll fill in the bubble. All the answers are true. That is true. Car is less than 1 meter long. We know 1 meter is the same as 100 centimeters. If we just said that the car is longer than 100 centimeters or 1 meter, then this is not true. A car is not less than 1 meter long. Car is less than 10 meters long. I'm going to tell you just by measuring it myself before. My car is less than 10 centimeters or 10 meters long. My car is not quite that long. It depends on what sort of vehicle you guys have. So you can say, if you have a van or something like that, it's probably got to be more than 10 meters long. This one, I would say, it's probably a yes. The car is about 20 centimeters long. This is 20 centimeters. That's a no. So that's not. Car is more than 150 meters long. Whew. Maybe like a semi-truck, but not my car. So this is no. Now this is the only one that's a little debatable. It just depends on how long your car is. If you have a smaller car, then you could say it is less than 10 meters long. Your mom or dad's car might be a little bigger, so that one you might want to say, hey, that's not true. But in my case, it is a little less than 10 meters long, okay? All right, those are the big things for math. And up here, we're going to jump to fundations. So compound words are words that you and I have actually talked about before. Compound words are 2 words that we combine to make one new word. So we're going to talk about just a few, and then I'm going to have you guys come up with a couple on your own. So for compound words, I'm going to give you, let's see. This one might be one that's been kind of open bedtime. I don't know about you guys. It's been a little harder to go to bed at a normal time. So let's think about bedtime. Let's first clap it out. Bedtime. We know there's 2 syllables. We also know the 2 words that we use to make that new compound word. Bed and time. The nice thing about those is we know how to spell both of those. They're both pretty easy words. Ed, B, shorty, D, And then time. Time. Since it's a two-syllable word, we know our vowels are here. We have a vowel there, but there's something about that vowel we'll talk about in a minute. Two syllables, bed, time. That one is a short E, so we give it a breathe. It's a closed syllable. Time. It's a long I, so we give it a macron. We put a V. Wait a minute. Do you hear that E at the end? I don't. I hear the long I, but I don't hear that E. There's a vowel, there's a consonant, and it's silent E. So we mark it off, and we put it as a V, a V-E. Okay. The next one, butterfly. Butterfly is an interesting one because it's actually 3 syllables. Butterfly. Butterfly. If you have your pen and paper at home, try that one out. 3 syllables, but we know what 2 words it's made out of. We know it's made out of butter and fly. So let's do butter, that T-U, and then butter. You double that T and give it an E-R. Fly. F-L-L-Y. So we're going to split it up into 3 spots. Since we have 2 consonants that are doubled, we're actually going to split right between those guys. And this is one of those special exceptions that you need to have those T, because that T likes to go with that ER, but that U also needs one because it's a short U. And then fly. That's a short U, so we give it a breathe. It's a closed syllable. We circle that, because if we come over here, it's an R-controlled vowel. So we're going to put an R underneath it. And that Y, it's that crybaby rule. That Y makes that I sound. Okay? And then let's see. Let's do one more. Let's see what I wrote. Outline. Outline. Like we went through a paper and we tried to outline the important parts of the paragraph. So let's clap it out. Outline. We know that it's made of 2 pretty simple words, out and line put together. We have that ow, O-U, I, N. I hear that long I. I see that consonant. I know that that I, if there was only a consonant, would really make a short vowel sound. Something is helping that I make a long vowel sound. You're right. It is that silent E. We're going to take our syllables. We're going to split between the 2 consonants. Out, line. We have our O-U. And then we have our long I. So we give it a macron. A V-E. Mark that out. Outline. Over here, that OU is part of that double vowel team. So we're going to put a D underneath it. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you and your family to come up with 4 or 5 other compound words. They don't have to be big ones. They don't have to be crazy ones. But 4 or 5 compound words. Make it a competition. And then write them out and mark them up. Okay? All right. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about some more PAS lessons. And then we're going to read a story. Okay? I'll talk to you in a minute.